He is a pitiful child in an orphanage, yet today he receives the luckiest gift of all, a mother as warm and vibrant as a rainbow.
Hello, Tomás. My name's Maire.
But when he follows his adoptive mother home, full of anticipation, he never expects that the first time his adoptive father lays eyes on him, the man reveals undisguised disappointment. A slight frame, shifty eyes, and not a shred of masculinity. Alec never imagined that the child his wife would bring back is exactly the type he detests the most. Just one look from him is enough to make Tomás so terrified that he can't even hold his luggage steadily. Out of politeness, Alec pretends to be friendly and shakes hands with Tomás. But through this simple contact, Tomás faintly senses that he probably won't last a few days in this house before being kicked out. Little does he know, this seemingly cold and harsh adoptive father will soon become his most inseparable bond. This is a cinematic gem that everyone must see in their lifetime. Some say watching it is like giving your soul a deep tissue massage. Created by the renowned Canadian director Vic Sarin, the film uses brilliant colors and delicate emotions to thoroughly heal the lonely hearts of the audience. The moment Tomás steps into his adoptive mother's home, the tension and anxiety he has accumulated along the way are instantly dispelled by a wave of warmth. Although the house isn't luxurious, it is filled with bright, vivid colors everywhere, as if he has stumbled into a rainbow shack. His adoptive mother, Maire, has even prepared new clothes for him in advance. At bedtime, Maire bends down and plants a gentle kiss on his forehead. In this moment, Tomás truly experiences the warmth of a home for the first time. However, Alec can't wait to make his stance clear to his wife. He does not intend to accept Tomás, but Maire quickly gives him a reason he cannot refuse. She explains that Tomás is the kindest child in the orphanage because he perfectly passed a test of humanity. It turns out that previously at the orphanage, the director deliberately locked a pigeon in with the children to see how everyone would react. While other kids either laughed on the sidelines or turned away to avoid it, completely indifferent to the pigeon flapping its wings in pain against the window, only Tomás watched with eyes full of heartache. He gently opened the window, watching the pigeon fly into the blue sky. But this kindness, hidden in his silence, actually became the reason he was bullied. His peers showed no sympathy, and instead mocked him with piercing laughter. And Maire witnesses this entire scene. To help Tomás adapt to this home as quickly as possible, Maire takes him to the chicken coop the next day to gather eggs, gently teaching Tomás how to communicate softly with the hens. Faced with this novel and interesting task, a jubilant smile appears on Tomás's face. But just as he successfully picks up an egg, Alec's sudden appearance startles him so much that he drops the egg on the ground in a panic. Meeting Alec's icy gaze, Tomás instantly realizes that this man doesn't like him, and he is terrified of being sent back to the orphanage. Maire seems to see right through Tomás's thoughts. Yet even so, Tomás remains timid and submissive in this house. Long-term bullying can easily lead children to develop learned helplessness, and Tomás's cowardice is a direct manifestation of post-traumatic stress. Faced with a small puddle accumulated in the yard, he secretly lifts his foot, tempted to step in and play, but is afraid it will invite a scolding from the adults. Just as he hesitates, Maire suddenly appears beside him, looking at him with a serious expression. Tomás panics, thinking he is definitely going to be criticized this time. Unexpectedly, in the next second, Maire jumps into the puddle first. Tomás could hardly believe it. His adoptive mother was actually playing a Peppa Pig game with him. They trample the mud wantonly, accompanied by the patter of rain. For the first time, Tomás feels a lightness he has never known before. But with an inadvertent turn, Tomás spots his adoptive father's deep, unreadable gaze. Although Alec doesn't say a word, Tomás feels a familiar wave of panic. And no matter how much his adoptive mother persuades him, he doesn't dare to enter the house. The next day at the dinner table, with a signaling glance from Maire, Alec immediately reins in his usual seriousness and tries to soften his tone, reminding Tomás to take some more food. This subtle interaction contains the human wisdom of tacit mediation in family relationships, silently conveying care. But Tomás, who has never experienced fatherly love, fails to understand the sentiment hidden in this clumsy tenderness. He only feels that this man's sudden shift in attitude leaves him at a loss, and he even secretly suspects this tenderness is just a temporary facade. Maire knows deep down that for Tomás to completely let down his guard, they must provide him with even more care and companionship. She knows her husband is not good with words, so she suggests he take Tomás fishing out at sea, hoping this might ease the relationship between the two. But no matter how she calls out from outside the house, Tomás hides in his room, too afraid to respond. He actually yearns to see the vastness of the ocean and hopes to use the fishing opportunity to get closer to his adoptive father. But in the end, he fails to conquer his inner timidity. Only when Maire gently reminds him that his adoptive father has already left, does Tomás carefully poke his head out. his eyes filled with disappointment and regret. To quickly eliminate Tomás's nervousness, Maire simply takes his hand and leads him to experience the atmosphere of the coast. The coast here is nourished by the North Atlantic drift, keeping the vegetation lush and green all year round. The bright sunshine is like a warm embrace, dispelling the uneasiness in Tomás's heart, making his attachment to Maire grow even stronger. He even secretly starts to think that perhaps he can really have a mother here. They sit together on a log, quietly soaking in this rare mother-son time. Just then, Maire suddenly makes a strange call toward the sea, and suddenly, several seals poke their heads out of the water. This magical scene amazes Tomás. Tomás tries several times, but he just can't grasp the technique. However, under Maire's patient guidance, over and over, Tomás actually succeeds in calling the seals out of the water. In that moment, he feels a confidence he has never felt before, and the corners of his mouth can't help but rise. Then Maire tells him that seals have the ability to perceive the spirits of the dead and can convey the thoughts of the living to them. Hearing this, Tomás immediately thinks of his grandmother. He speaks to the sea of his longing for his grandmother, then turns to look at Maire, whispering seriously. Although it is just a simple sentence, it instantly brings tears to Maire's eyes. She knows that her day-after-day patience and love have finally melted the hard ice in Tomás's heart. In this moment, the reliance between them has long become a recognition more precious than blood ties. With Maire's gentle and firm companionship, Tomás truly begins to treat this place as his home. He takes the initiative to clean the chicken coop, knowing this is his way of contributing strength to this family. But the sound of playing catches his attention. Looking up, he glimpses several strange children arriving at the house. It turns out these children were specially invited by Maire. She knows Tomás is introverted and shy, and she hopes to help him learn to get along with others through this method. But this scene terrifies Tomás, and he subconsciously looks around, just wanting to find a place to hide quickly. Maire understands Tomás's panic at this moment. She doesn't rush him at all, instead gently telling him that he doesn't need to feel any pressure, and that she will stay right by his side. After a fierce psychological struggle, Tomás finally summons the courage to meet the guests. Just like that, with Maire's encouragement, Tomás makes friends for the first time. When the children propose going to the hills to play, he doesn't refuse. He even seriously combs his hair in the mirror, his heart feeling both nervous and expectant. Subsequently, he follows them running on the grass. As the wind brushes his cheeks, Tomás finally experiences the pure and intense joy of childhood. Seeing more and more smiles on Tomás's face, Maire decides to send him to school, allowing him to have a broader world. She knows that for the introverted Tomás, this is a difficult but important challenge. Sure enough, when Tomás looks at the room full of strange faces, he is so nervous his breathing becomes rapid. He subconsciously picks at his fingers, and images of being bullied at the orphanage uncontrollably surge in his mind. But just as he is about to retreat, the teacher gently encourages him not to be nervous. Fortunately, it is completely different from the scene he imagined. The student's eyes are full of patience and friendliness, without a trace of mockery.
King Fingal's castle. Try and find that in a city.
What surprises Tomás even more is that as soon as he finishes speaking, everyone raises their hands. Tomás never imagined that he could receive such a warm welcome and affection. He finally has an epiphany. Bravely taking the first step really allows you to see different scenery. However, this joy doesn't last long before he is met with an unexpected blow. When he returns home, he finds that a caseworker from the adoption agency has come to investigate, because adopting a child requires the written consent of both husband and wife. This requirement is a universal rule of the national adoption system, reflecting the rigid legal protection of adopted children's rights. But Alec has delayed putting his pen to the paper, which implies that Tomás's future is still unclear. Recalling the figure of his adoptive father leaving just now, Tomás seems to understand something. Although his adoptive mother tries her best to comfort him, Tomás's bad premonition grows stronger. He is terrified that this home he just acquired will shatter like a bubble at any moment. He goes to the seaside alone, wanting to tell his grandmother about his unease and worry. Maire, who has been searching everywhere for him, quickly comes up behind him. Maire understands the melancholy Tomás is feeling. She doesn't intrude, but simply sits quietly by his side. Yet her tenderness seems to alleviate a lot of Tomás's panic. He realizes that even if his staying or leaving is an unknown, at least in this moment, he is not facing this uneasiness alone.
Call you Mum. I could believe it.
Then why not call me Mum? I'd like that.
Mum.
Maire actually knows that her husband has already accepted Tomás in his heart, only that men's ways of expressing emotion are never as direct and passionate as women's. She knows that this care hidden in silence is exactly the heavy form of a father's love, To create an opportunity for her husband and Tomás to be alone, Maire pretends she needs to go to town for business for 2 days. The night before she leaves, she specifically asks Tomás if he would be willing to go out to sea with his adoptive father.
Is that a yes?
Early the next morning, as soon as the two arrive at the seaside, Tomás discovers a seal pup abandoned by its mother, its thin body still trembling slightly. Looking at the helpless appearance of the little seal, Tomás instantly remembers himself suffering from hunger and cold as a child, and a wave of heartache surges in his chest. He tentatively asks his adoptive father if he can take care of the little seal in the future. Alec doesn't respond directly. He just reminds Tomás that feeding a little seal requires long-term persistence, asking Tomás if he can manage it. Alec says no more. He takes Tomás to the side of the little seal, then gently lifts its head, teaching Tomás how to feed it. At first, Tomás feels a bit scared, and his movements appear exceptionally stiff, but Alec encourages him with a gentle tone, patiently waiting for him to adjust slowly. Finally, Tomás successfully feeds the small fish into the little seal's mouth. This is the first time the two have completed a task together. The strangeness and alienation spanning between them seem to quietly melt away in this moment. From then on, Tomás prepares small fish every day to feed the seal, and he even specifically names it Smudge. Once an animal is given a name of its own, it feels as if it's been endowed with special meaning, becoming something deeply connected to you. A few days later, just as Tomás returns home, he sees a cake on the table. This is a birthday surprise Maire prepared for him. Alec, meanwhile, gives Tomás a new fishing rod. Tomás has given all the fish in the house to the little seal, so Alec hopes he can learn to catch fish himself to feed Smudge, and even promises to take him to learn sea fishing tomorrow. However, while Tomás is immersed in this happiness, he is completely unaware that a tragedy is quietly approaching. Maire suffers from a congenital heart condition. She can neither overwork nor withstand emotional excitement. These are explicitly medically defined contraindications for daily care. Previously, when she took Tomás to jump in puddles, the complex look Alec gave was just anxiety about Maire's body, not any ill will toward Tomás. Fortunately, Alec has always been exceptionally considerate toward Maire. This meticulous care has allowed Maire to avoid any physical discomfort despite her serious illness. Early the next morning, Alec takes Tomás out sea fishing as promised, but they don't get far before they are hailed by a few friends inviting him for a drink. Alec promises to return very soon and asks Tomás to wait right there. Tomás is full of anticipation, thinking he only has to wait a short while, but unexpectedly, by dusk, his adoptive father's figure has still not appeared. The anticipation in Tomás's heart cools down bit by bit, leaving only eyes full of unconcealable disappointment. He runs alone to the seaside to find Smudge, silently recounting the grievance in his heart. But after speaking just a few sentences, Maire arrives by his side. Maire understands how much Tomás looked forward to this fishing trip. In order not to disappoint her son, she disregards the surging waves and decides to take Tomás out to sea alone. However, the freezing sea breeze wrapped in salty moisture quickly makes Maire feel a chill. The high humidity and low temperature brought by marine currents are typical climate characteristics of coastal regions, directly affecting human sensation and health. Maire grips the oars tightly, enduring the jiaoji cramps from her heart, paddling the small boat toward the bay bit by bit. She only wanted to fulfill her son's wish, never expecting that this persistence for her child would lead to an unforeseen accident. The quiet invasion of accumulated overwork and the cold causes Maire's condition to take a sharp turn for the worse. Clearly terminally ill, she holds on to her last shred of strength, pretending to be relaxed as she comforts Tomás, saying she just needs to rest in the hospital for a few days and will be fine. Tomás looks at his mother's pale but still gentle face, feeling only warmth in his heart, not suspecting the weight of these words in the slightest. Then, Maire instructs Tomás to take a gift box from the cabinet. She carefully takes out a red handkerchief, as if wrapping all her deep longing inside it, and hands it to her son. She specifically tells Tomás that if he misses her, he should open it and look. This method of using a personal object to convey longing has lasted for hundreds of years in the region, and is a symbol of spiritual bonding in Celtic culture. Tomás tightly clutches the handkerchief, his heart full of his mother's love, not realizing the implication behind her words. During the days he was staying at the neighbor's house, every single moment was an ordeal for Tomás. He is desperate to know when his mother can come back, but every time he asks the neighbor auntie, she tries to hide the truth. But eventually, he makes up his mind to visit his mother in the hospital personally. Before setting off, he used the comb his grandmother had left him to trade for a colorful tablecloth. He knows his mother loves vibrant colors the most and hopes this gift will make her smile. Along the way, he holds the package tightly, his face full of longing to see his mom, and even his footsteps become much lighter. But when he finally arrives at the ward, he never expects that after only a few days apart, his mother has lost her former radiance. Maire slowly raises her hand, gently stroking Tomás's face, saying weakly that she might be leaving, hoping he can become braver and more cheerful in the future. Tomás listens, somewhat confused, but before he can hand the gift to his mother, he is taken out by the doctor. Walking out of the ward, he fails to see the unconcealable grief on his adoptive father's face or his mother's hand slowly turning pale. It isn't until the priest's low prayer reaches his ears that it hits Tomás like a heavy hammer smashing into his heart. Tomás suddenly has an epiphany. He will never see his mother again. The feeling of a knife twisting in his heart instantly spreads through his body. Disregarding the carefully prepared gift, he rushes urgently into the ward, hoping with all his heart to feel his mother's warm embrace one more time. Tomás tremblingly kisses his mother's hand, tightly holding the remaining warmth in her palm, refusing to let go. Finally, under the persuasion of others, he leaves the ward with endless grief. Tomás cannot accept his mother's death and is even more afraid to attend the funeral himself, as it would make the word parting feel unbearably real. He can only watch from afar as the coffin gradually moves away. He goes alone to the seaside, letting his tears flow freely, mixing with the salty sea breeze. But as soon as they get home, Alec doesn't even look at Tomás, before heading straight to the bedroom, bearing the pain of losing his wife alone. However, Tomás misunderstands, believing that his adoptive father no longer wants him. He sits sadly on the grass, enduring a despair like falling into an abyss. Friends come over to comfort him, saying that since Alec hasn't signed the adoption papers yet, perhaps returning to the orphanage would actually be happier. But Tomás knows deep down that this has long become his home. He has no desire to leave at all, and realizes that his adoptive father, who has just lost his beloved wife, actually needs companionship more than he does. Starting the next day, Tomás intends to use action to keep this family together. He takes on all the housework, clumsily imitating his mother's cooking skills, trying again and again to make the dishes Alec loves most. Tomás thinks the familiar taste will make his adoptive father happier, but the aroma instead draws out deeper longing in him. Alec's grief explodes completely. In a fit of rage, he gathers all the bright, colorful items in the house and burns them along with his wife's clothes. He naively thinks that as long as he completely erases all traces of his wife, he can alleviate the pain in his heart. But what he doesn't know is that he isn't burning away memories, but Tomás's last connection to his mother.
Your fault is gone! All your fault! Where's Alec, she asked? Then she took me in the boat. She took me because you never came! Because of you, I waited and waited, but you still never came! I hate you.
Perhaps many things in life can never be judged by simple right or wrong. Alec knows deeply that he should apologize to Tomás, but standing outside the door, he never finds the courage to knock. And this unspoken apology acts like an invisible shackle, firmly trapping this relationship. Tomás also wants to forgive his adoptive father. He understands the guilt and pain in the man's heart. But when his gaze falls on the document that still hasn't been signed for him, all forgiveness vanishes instantly. He runs out in anger. He plans to find Smudge to vent his grievances, but unexpectedly, Smudge gently shakes his head, signaling him to look into the distance. Tomás turns his head in confusion, and the scene before him is unbelievable. A brilliant rainbow like shattered starlight gently sprinkles over him. That silent warmth and comfort make the grief in his heart feel as if it has been healed. So, Tomás urgently tells this scene to his adoptive father, who is drowning his sorrows in alcohol. He pulls out that precious handkerchief and hands it to his adoptive father, whispering softly, "This is what Mom left behind. It's filled with her love. As long as you feel it with your heart, you can sense that she has been here all along." Alec holds the only handkerchief his wife left behind, his eyes burning hot. When sleeping, he clutches the handkerchief tightly. In a trance, he feels as if his wife is right beside him. This night, he seems to completely forget his grief and sleeps exceptionally peacefully. However, on the other side, Tomás tosses and turns all night because he has made a firm but reluctant decision. Early the next morning, he silently packs his luggage, intending to return to the orphanage. He doesn't want to accept the embarrassment of being driven away by his adoptive father. He would rather choose the dignity of leaving first. He glances at this room filled with warm memories. Despite 100 reluctance, he knows that some things cannot be changed just by persisting. Before leaving, he wants to help Smudge find its mother. He puts the little seal into the small boat and prepares to row into the depths of the sea. When Alec wakes up, he knows nothing of this. After the spiritual cleansing of the previous night, he seems to have had an epiphany. He plans to go to the kitchen to make breakfast first, using action to express his love for Tomás. But when he finds the bedroom empty, he instantly realizes something and immediately rushes out to search everywhere. He searches every corner but never sees Tomás's figure. Only when he casts his gaze toward the sea is he shocked to see that Tomás is paddling the small boat alone out on the ocean. He is scared cold all over. He knows too well that the surging waves can swallow everything at any moment. Sure enough, the boat hasn't gone far before a storm descends suddenly and a huge wave easily flips the hull. Alec immediately jumps into a boat and rows with all his might, but the distance feels like an unbridgeable chasm. It is all too late, and he breaks down completely. Only at this moment does he truly realize that Tomás has long become a concern he cannot let go of. He dares not imagine how he could bear it if Tomás were to leave forever like his wife. Tomás has completely sunk into the sea, with no trace of struggle left. In the nick of time, the surrounding seals dive into the sea one after another, quickly surrounding Tomás and dragging him out of the water. When Alec sees Tomás, he finds him lying unconscious on the beach. Burning with anxiety, he runs over to check the situation. Fortunately, Tomás soon wakes up. He says with a trembling voice that Mom ordered those seals to save him. It must be. Alec hugs Tomás tightly in his arms. Through this life and death experience, they realize that they have become indispensable parts of each other's lives. Back home, the father and son spread the colorful cloth that Maire didn't get to open onto the table. The vibrant colors instantly add a touch of warmth to the house. Subsequently, Tomás asks his adoptive father when he is returning to the orphanage. Tomás really doesn't understand. Since his adoptive father cares about him so much, why does he delay signing the adoption papers? But Alec tells him,
I won't be signing these papers unless I have your permission.
Permission?
Do you want to go back to the orphanage?
No.
Then you'll not go.
The sea breeze blows and the gloom scatters. Tomás excitedly throws himself into Alec's arms, quietly feeling this deep and heavy fatherly love. This respect for the adoptee's will is a progressive aspect of the modern adoption system, highlighting the legal importance placed on individual rights, and also reflecting Alec's warmth and responsibility. When his little friends come to invite Tomás to catch fish by the sea, he says with immense pride,
First I have to ask my dad.
Tomás immediately shares this joy with Smudge. He hopes Smudge can pass this good news to his mom, so she can be happy for him too. Alec holds that red handkerchief high, the breeze brushes past, and the handkerchief unfurls in the sunlight, as if returning to Maire's side. And Tomás, just as Maire wished, has become more cheerful and brave, because like everyone else, he finally has a dad. This is a heartwarming movie that heals the soul. Without deliberate melodrama or preaching, it moves millions of viewers with a pure story and deep love. Tomás, the boy with timid eyes who suffered bullying in the orphanage, under the protection of his rainbow-bright adoptive mother Maire, breaks free from past trauma and grows into a brave and cheerful boy. Every step of his transformation follows the footprints of love and acceptance. Maire's home is Tomás's spiritual refuge. This rainbow shack full of vivid colors dispels his anxiety. The gentle kiss before bed lets him experience the warmth of home for the first time. Her patient guidance when gathering eggs, her wanton companionship when stomping in puddles, her gentle encouragement when calling the seals. Maire uses little details to awaken Tomás's frozen nature, allowing him to regain confidence through trust. And the seemingly cold adoptive father, Alec, actually guards him silently in a clumsy way. The softened tone at the dinner table, the patience in teaching him to feed the seal, the intention behind the new fishing rod, all conceal an unspoken warmth. The film's success lies not only in the picturesque scenery of the North Atlantic coast, lush all year round, but also in the three-dimensional and vivid character development. Maire is gentle and firm, interpreting the power of love with her life. Alec is cold on the outside but warm on the inside, interpreting the weight of fatherly love through silence. Tomás is sensitive and kind, completing the most moving growth amidst trauma and love. Maire's death nearly caused this warmth to collapse, with misunderstanding and grief spanning between Tomás and Alec. But the solace under the rainbow and the longing inside the red handkerchief eventually allowed them to understand each other's hearts. The life and death test at sea pushes the emotion to a climax. The rescue by the seal pod is like the continuation of Maire's protection, making the father and son thoroughly understand that they are indispensable parts of each other's lives. When Alec says, "I won't sign unless I have your permission," this respect and responsibility is the best annotation of family affection. The film ultimately tells us that home has nothing to do with bloodlines but lies in love and companionship. Just like that fluttering red handkerchief and the brilliant rainbow, even if a loved one goes far away, love will turn into light, illuminating the road ahead, allowing every once lonely soul to find their own warm belonging.